is you basically have two equations and two unknowns. Those of you that are familiar and remember algebra, you remember solving systems of equations where you had two equations? Oh, come on, you do too. You're just messing with me now. Well, basically what we've got here, number 3 says the unit price of a 100-pound container of swimming pool chlorine is 0.06 per pound less than the unit price of the 75-pound container. It's also like a mixture problem you had from algebra. If a 100-pound container costs $55.50 more than the 75-pound container, find the cost of each. Sometimes when you're doing things like this, you got to figure out, you got to make, you've got to have some variables. And we've got a 100-pound container, right? Oh, I need to unfreeze it, don't I? We have a 100-pound container over here of chlorine, then we've got a 75-pound container. Now, what they want us to find is the price of each. Now, so your first thought might be, okay, let's make that my variable. Well, that's, and I'll show it to you after we're done here. I'll pull up the video from from first hour and show you the difference of how you do that. But actually, it's going to be easy. Let's look at the stuff that's given to us. They tell us that this one is 0.06 per pound more than that one, right? Or was it the other way around? They didn't say more, it's less.
The unit price on the 100-pound container
Is that what it says? Yeah. It says it's less than this one. Okay.
6 cents less.
It's basically 6 cents less than this one, but we need to leave it in terms of dollars. And do me a favor, guys. Can you guys not write this down? Just write it down after we're done. Because there's a lot of steps here. You're just trying to pick this up in the middle. You're going to be confused. Okay? Now, and then they also tell us that the 100-pound one costs $55.50. That's where I got my more than this one. Okay? So we're going to have to deal with the unit price here, because isn't what this is dealing with? How much per pound it costs, or we're going to have to deal with the actual price. Now, like I said, first error, I went ahead and just made X and Y how much it cost for the 100-pound and how much it costs for that. But what we're going to do is I'm going to use A and B. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make your variable, we're going to make A equal to the 100-pound container price per pound. Okay? I'm going to use different colors to help out. And then we're going to use B, we're going to call the what? 75-pound containers price per pound. And the reason we're going to do this is because what will happen is it'll make your formulas a little bit, or your equations you're going to make a little bit less complicated. So, first things first, they say that the price of this one, or the unit price of this one, is 6 cents less than the unit price of what? This one. That's an equation there. So, our unit price of this, we'll call it A, because this is the 100-pound, right? Is cheaper than what? The other one, which is B minus what? 0.06? You guys see how I'm getting that? Isn't that what this says? The price of the 100-pound container is equal to 6 cents less than the price per unit of the what? 75-pound container. So here's one of your equations that we're going to use. Okay? The other equation we're going to use is now, though, we need to talk about the cost. Now, what is this one's cost and this one's cost?
You don't know.
We kind of do. What did we make, how much is this one per pound? We call it A, right?
A plus 55.
Right? So the cost of this 100-pound container is 100 times what? A, isn't it? Because if it costs $5 per pound, then 100 pounds is going to be $500, isn't it? So the actual cost, how much it costs, is 100 times A, right? How much does this one cost? Well, it costs B dollars per pound, so this one is 75 pounds times what? B, because we're getting 75 pounds. Okay? So when we're talking about cost, which is what this statement is saying, right? We need to use 100A and 75B, so we're using the same variables. This one is a little harder to understand, but the equations you come out with are easier. And like I said, I'll go back and do it the other way as well, so you can see both. Now, so this costs, they say that the cost of the 100-pound container, so 100A is equal to what? It costs $55 more than this one, right? So I would say 75B plus what? 55.50. Now, how am I going to solve this? Well, I already have this solved for A, don't I? Isn't A equal? What is A the same thing as? Whatever's on the other side of that equal sign. A is the same thing as B minus 0.06, right? So if I substitute this back into this equation for what? A, I'll have 100 times. Now what am I going to put instead of A? B minus 0.06, 75B plus 55.50. Now why does that help me? You guys remember solving two equations, two unknowns?
Yeah.
Yeah, now how many different types of unknowns do I have in this equation? I have just one. I just have B's. So now eventually I can manipulate this equation around and see what B is equal to. So if I multiply through here, I'd get what? 100B minus, what's 100 times 0.06? 6? Is that what your calculator says?
I don't know if I can't see it on my computer. Oh,
I'm just going to input one. So we got 100 times 0.06 is 6. So there we are there. Now, I need to get my B terms on one side, everything else on the other. So what am I going to do? Subtract 75B. I could go this way. You could go either way. That would leave me with what? 25B minus 6 is equal to 55.5. What's my next step, guys?
Add 6.
Add 6 to both sides.
You get 61.
I get 25B is equal to 61.5. What am I going to do now? Divide both sides by what? 25. Now's when I need the calculator.
B is equal to 2.46.
61.5 divided by 25 was 2.46. So that's how much this one costs per what?
Unit.
Pound. Yeah, per pound. So how much does this one cost per pound? Well, it's whatever this one costs, right? $2.46 per pound minus what? 0.06 cents. So what does it cost per pound? What is 2.46 minus 0.06? $2.40 per pound. That's the 100 pound, and this is the what? 75 pound. Now, they asked me though in the problem to find the what? The cost, right? So the cost of the 100-pound bag would be whatever it costs per pound, which is what? $2.40 times what? 100, which equals what?
240.
$240. The cost for the 75-pound bag would be whatever it's 75 pounds times whatever it costs per pound, which is what?
180.
$2 and what? 46 cents, right?
Or you could just add 55 per pound to it.
Subtract.
What's subtract?
So that's
So what do you get?
$184.50.
$184.50. So those are your two answers. Now, what I did yesterday, or what I did, not yesterday, the other hour, is I did it a different way in that, let's see, let's pull up, I guess I'm recording this too, but that's all right. Videos. Method A. Pull it up in just a second. Got all the stuff down, all the facts, and I decided to make my price per container. Okay? So this is how much it cost, not how much it was per unit, right? And that's why I went ahead and used A and B for the one I did, so we'd at least have different variables. So when the 75-pound bag plus 55.50 would equal what? The price of the other one. Agreed? And then we just, the big difference, you say, well, that's easier. Why didn't you do that? The big difference is the second equation. Because no, the unit price is X, but how would I find the unit price? I'd take X and I'd divide by 100 because there's 100 pounds, right? And the unit price of the other one is Y divided by what? 75. So when you put that into an equation, probably because that's what would pop into my head first. But the bad thing is 1 over 100 is 0.01. So that's nice and easy. You could just change that to a decimal and make that part easier. Because you have decimals in there already. And so it finally became a much simpler equation after a bunch of math. Now it's not so bad. So now I just plug that in, what? Right there, and eventually, as we skip ahead, fortunately there's not any others like that. I'm almost certain in this section, if there are, we'll do them on the board tomorrow and I'll help you with them, okay? Your assignment, as I wrote on here, 1 through 12, write conditions, draw the tables, and show all your steps and work, okay? Mostly in this section, you're just going to be saying, hey, which one's more expensive, per unit.
Right.
It's always been a good, quick snack for me when I was a coach. Go make a quick peanut butter sandwich. Wrestlers kind of understand that kind of stuff, too. It's got some good protein in it. I used to get the big thing of Jif over there. Those big tubs, The only problem was when you finally get down to the last quarter of it, it tastes horrible.